In this video, we are going to cover Windows operating system real tickets. I highly assume you have went through this chapter and finished the 11 minutes long video and you learned quite a bit from this video. So now we are going to go back to our tickets. So here we have three tickets that we are going to implement it in the real lab system. So the first ticket is basically about Windows operating system. We have IT manager Monica. Hello, James. James will be starting on Monday. Please create his Active Directory account and set up the PLAB Win 102 machine. Ensure to test his account on this machine. Now keep in mind that we are not going to cover Active Directory training in this video. This is just to show you how this specific ticket is done on an operating system level. You will learn about Active Directory throughout our courses. Even in this course, you're going to come across Active Directory training, and the third course is extensively about Active Directory. So sometimes if you go to a company and then you are given some tasks and you're not aware of that technology or feature or the infrastructure, don't worry too much about it, because one, you need to just finish that ticket. Later on, you can come and then do more research by learning more from courses or asking your managers or co-workers to understand how things are connected. You're just not going to know everything in the beginning because things are so connected in the companies and people have done all of that work before you. So that's totally fine. They understand this. I just want you to know, as a learner, you don't need to take too much stress by learning every single thing if it's not covered in the beginning. So in here, we are going to touch Active Directory, server, things like that. You don't need to learn about that right now. Just focus on the specific ticket. The ticket is, on this operating system, Monica wants you to add James, so then he is able to work in this environment. So you just have to now copy this whole process from my actions. So go ahead and open a new tab. You can leave this one open and go to the new tab in the same browser and click on Practice Labs. And if you have premium membership, you will come to this section. You will type 1102. We are using this lab. Go ahead and open this lab. And we're going to go ahead and launch the first lab. Now, keep in mind that we're doing something very custom. Whenever we are doing something custom, the left side, you just have to ignore it, hide it, and you cannot reach out to the support for any type of support at this point because you're doing something extremely custom and you're not using the lab documentation, which we already mentioned that you will come across this type of learning later on. So let's go ahead and turn on all of your machines. We don't need the Linux ones on this side, so we just need DC, Win, and Win 11. Now let's go back and check. We're told to add James and then added this machine to the Active Directory, which is basically please create his Active Directory account and then set up this machine. So we got two tasks to do right now. One, we are being told to go to Active Directory and create James, meaning we have to create that account. So in many companies, they will either give you this access or maybe it will be limited. It depends on your level of work. So if you do have access in this environment, we have the server, and in server, we have Active Directory running. In some cases, an Active Directory could be an application or some sort of add-on on an operating system that you are using. But in the same way, you just need to open Active Directory. So here we just need to wait for this DC to come up, and then I'll show you where we need to add James. So once this server plab DC01, which has Active Directory, that's where all the access is coming from, you're going to come over here and you will open Tools. And in Tools, we're going to open Active Directory Users and Computer. Now keep in mind, when you click on that, this will take a little second because when a server is getting started, everything is coming up slowly. So just go ahead and let's go ahead and move this a little bit just to see if it's coming up. There you go, it just came up. So now what you need to do here, we need to add James to Active Directory. So like I said, this is something we teach later on in more extensive way towards Active Directory. So for now, you just need to know that this is an Active Directory. This is where all the user gets added in this lab or a company. So you will come over here. It depends on the company. They will give you their own step-by-step guidance that, okay, add them over here, add them over here. That's up to them. But in this lab, you can just go to the users, right click on the user here, and here click on new, go to users, and now we can add James. Now, naming convention and everything like that is a part of Active Directory training. This is something a company will tell you. They will give you the full name. HR is going to give you the James, JSS, whatever their full name is. And their login conventions is same way. They're going to give you all that information, so you don't need to worry about it. Here, we just need to add James right now. Click Next. And again, this is going to be all company's policies. You'll learn this again in Active Directory. So just give it a password that is acceptable, or the password that you can remember. So let's go ahead and actually redo this because I forgot my first one. There you go. Make sure you uncheck this first box because it's going to make you force you to ask change the password. So uncheck everything. For now, we're just adding James without any training. Okay, we added James. James is a normal user, and if you go back to the ticket, you have completed the first task which Monica has given to you, adding James to Active Directory. So the first point that I want to remind you that in companies, when you get hired as an IT support professional, you may follow a document just like that. When you touch things and you have no clue about that specific technology, and that is totally fine. So again, the reminder is don't worry too much. You cannot just go back and start learning about Active Directory right there and then. You just have to relax and just kind of follow that you have done this part, and now keep that in your mind, and you can continue to copy this process. It's called repetitive process. And then later, uh, take some time out and start learning more, which you are gonna learn from our courses. But I wanted to remind you that that's exactly how it works in real companies. So we are done with one specific task. What about this one? Account and set up the PLAB Win102 machine. Ensure to test this account on this machine. Okay. So we are being told that we need to now set up a new machine so then James can log into that. Now, in a real world environment, companies will give James a laptop or desktop or whatever that is. They will give it to you, and then you will configure the whole operating system from scratch, which basically you will install the operating system and things like that. And all of that you will come across in your modules and labs later on. But for now, you can go to PLAB Win11, and here we have already added James into the Hyper-V. So in this lab, there's this virtualization system where you can type search just like that and type Hyper-V, and then click on Hyper-V Manager. Now, if you're new to virtualization, you don't need to worry about it. This is again, it says application, where inside this machine, you can create a new virtual machines like operating system. So we have it right here. At this point, you don't need to worry about it. What that is, because again, you're going to learn all of this stuff in its own specific trainings. For now, we have PLAB Win 102 available. Go ahead and turn it on. So just imagine this is a laptop and we put it on the desk, and now you created James in Active Directory. You walked into James' office right now, you open the laptop, and the operating system is already installed there, but you need to now configure the operating system further now. So this is what we are going to do for James. So let's go ahead and open this machine. Inside, you're going to right click and connect. So go ahead and click on connect, and let's maximize this. So we are totally looking at this machine then. It's going to take a second when it's come up. There you go. So now we have this machine available. Now, when you see an admin like this and there's nothing on there, if you, let's say if I want to test you, is this machine on domain or not? If you answer that this machine is on domain, then that's wrong. If you answer no, then that's correct. This machine is not on domain right now. So we just went to his desk, right? We turn on this laptop and operating system was already installed from a provider, let's say Dell or some other company. But it has only admin and the password is given to us. There's nothing else. So this machine is totally unmanaged machine at this point. We just turned it on. So the password is the same lab password that you can always come over here and click on those little eye icons, and then the password will show up. So I'm going to go ahead and log into that generic password that Practice Lab gives you. Okay, so I just put that password and look, I'm inside that machine. So At this point, we are being told to connect this machine to the Active Directory so James can log in. Right now, if I wanted to log in as James, because you just created James in DC in this Active Directory, but if you try to log in James onto this machine, it's not going to work. Where are you going to have him log in? There's no way, right? So we need to connect this machine to the domain so it's being managed, and then James can log in through his network username and password. So let's just do that part right now because you learned that in the chapter video as well. So let's do that. So to do this, let's say if you didn't know about Active Directory, one of your coworker will tell you, yeah, let's open James machines on the desk because it's not being managed at this point. Let's log in with the username and password that I have, and there's nothing else in there because you cannot log in with James' username and password at this point because it's not being managed. There's no way, right? So first you need to connect this machine to what? To the domain controller right here. So that's what we need to do first. So we are in PLAB 111, Win11, and we open the virtual machine. So let's confirm that we are in the virtual machine. Yes, we are in 102. Let's go to the system. Right click on the start, go to system, and in any other Windows operating system, you just need to find where is the system settings, right? So if I come all the way down, it says advanced system settings, and here you go, we got it in computer name. If I click here, if I click on change, you see that this machine is under work group. It's not under domain. If it was under domain, we would have just straight went and just put James username and password at the time of log on, and everything would have worked. But there's no such thing. So first thing, we need to connect this machine to the domain right now. That's something we are learning right now. And of course, you will learn later on about this whole thing in an Active Directory training. So what is the domain? You can go back to plabdc01 and confirm the domain. So this is practicelabs.com. That's the domain that we are using. So let's go back. And then here, we are gonna type practicelabs.com and enter. So once you click enter, let's see what happens. So we get an error. So imagine every time you get an error, what do you do as an IT support professional? You don't just look at the error and just close it, right? You need to click on details and let's see what's going on over here. So clearly it's saying that we have a DNS problem. And if you look down right here, this DNS is pointing to 192.168.255.13, and something is not right. So what we need to do here, we need to go over here into this system, this computer network system, and let's go ahead and if we can open the networking. So advanced change adapter network option. So let's go ahead and open that and right click on the network, go to properties, and here's the TCP IPv4 properties. Let's go ahead and open this and let's see if it matches the server, the Active Directory server IP address. So if I come over here and on the server machine, I'm going to go ahead and type cmd and open command, and this is something basics right now. You are going to learn about this as well. Everything that I'm showing is in different type of modules, but for now we're just covering a whole ticket. So ipconfig, when you type that, you get an IP address. We are going to use the first IP address. We know this is the domain controller IP. So we're going to go back now to our virtual machine and change this IP, the DNS of this IP, to that specific address. Now, in the real companies, you don't really need to do this because most of the time this is done through network. So your computer gets connected and automatically detects the the DNS. So basically you don't need to do this part, but in this lab you're telling this virtual machine to talk to DC01 right now because we are fixing that. We're going to click OK, close it, go back to the domain, and we're going to type it again, practicelabs.com. And there you go. As soon as I did that, what happened? It started talking to the domain controller. Now, coming back, who's going to be actually doing this part? This is going to be the administrator of this Active Directory. And again, that is something your co-worker or somebody will tell you, or they will give you this access, or you may have the access. So here you see we have administrator available right here. So we can use that account or you can create a new account, make it a domain admin, whatever you want to, but that is something I don't want to jump ahead right now. This is not an Active Directory training at this point. So we already have administrator account available. So we're going to go back to Win 10 here, and it's asking us to give us that username and password. So I'm going to go ahead and type the normal lab username and password that you know where to get it from. So username and password, and I type that, you see it says welcome to practicelabs.com. Boom. This machine is now being managed. If I restart this machine, it's going to have another section for us to log in, and then we will be able to use this machine for James. But if you want to confirm it, you can go back to PLAB DC01, go to computers, and just wait for it to come up. And there you go. PLAB Win102 is now being managed. If I go back here, let the virtual machine start. And once it starts, we are going to see now another user. So here, let's go ahead and maximize this. And if I scroll this down, other user. Now let's log in as James. You have created this in the Active Directory. So there you go. We got James logging in right now. Okay. Now, if you see any issues with logon or anything like that, restart the machine. And sometimes you have to also change the logon. So with the console mode, because it's currently using this automatic login and console. So maybe try these both, because that's what I have seen in the past that works for me. So make sure you come over here, click on console mode, then log back into the machine, and then try to log in as James. So right now, James can log into the machine. Okay, you have completed the ticket number 1 totally by adding James to the Active Directory, and also this machine is added to the Active Directory, and then you logged in as James, and everything is good to go. So now we have a second ticket from James. He started working, and as soon as he started working, he went to a training machine. Like let's say in a business, there's a room, and then they have this training machine called PLAB Win 10, which is a training room. I was supposed to RDP to my machine for some training. You know, this is a common practice. Users will go to some room, they will have a set of computers, and then maybe the trainer will say, yeah, let's RDP to your machine, so let's open that application, blah blah blah, right? And RDP can be used from their home and things like that with VPN. We're not going to do that right now. Like I said, things will be covered, but for now, James just went to a training room machine, opened the new training room machine, he logged in with his own username and password, and he's trying to RDP to his office machine at this point, that the one that we just created. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. So let's go ahead and log in here, PLAB Win 10. When you click on PLAB Win 10, it's going to automatically log you in. So we need to change that. So you're going to click on these three dots and uncheck the automatic login, and then click on console mode. This is like James went to a training room machine right now and now sat in front of that machine, and he's going to use other user and log in with James right now. There you go. We're going to use it, James, and then the password that we have created. So we're going to log in to the training room machine right now with James' account because he's a part of Active Directory. All right, so now you see we're going to go ahead and just cancel all this information, don't install. And what James is doing, he's coming here to RDP from this machine to his lab machine that we have created, right? So what is the name of that? P Lab Win 102. And he's typing here P Lab Win 102, but of course it's not going to work because RDP is not enabled on that machine. So very simple solution. You just need to enable it, and it's a very common practice, common ticket. He's trying to connect from this machine to all the way to his machine. Now, if you go back to the Win PLAB Win 11, and let's log in and open that virtual machine that we have created. So let's go ahead and open that. Oh, it's already open here. So PLAB Win 102, we're going to log into James' machine and change the settings. So if we come over here, let's go ahead and find that settings. So if you see these screens are kind of like small, make sure you maximize the whole window of that virtual machine and you can see the whole machine. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the settings, systems and settings. And same way that we went to domain stuff, we're going to go back to advanced system settings. And why is this asking for username and password? Because James is not a domain admin. So this is another common thing that you're going to come across. Who's going to do this? You as an IT support professional have more admin rights, and you should have your own account with more admin rights. So in this case, we have administrator account. We're going to put the administrator username and password. You see now I can see the options. So if I come to remote right here, why James cannot log into his own machine? Because the remote desktop is disabled. So if I allow this and apply and click OK, then James can come back here to his training machine. To his own machine, he can type the same name of that machine or IP address, click on connect, and see now it's working. So if I'm gonna use it just like that. Now, this is another issue now. First, the issue was that the machine was totally not accepting that remote log on, right? Because it was totally the service was off. Now it's what is the issue? It's denied, access denied. It's another thing that you also need to make sure that you don't just cancel this. Look at this. The connection was denied because the user is not authorized for remote log on. That's something you can fix by going to the machine and adding this user to the remote logon or an Active Directory and things like that. That's something you can do later on. But at this point, if this was working, if he was a part of the authorization, simply he will connect to that machine. That's it. So for now, just keep in mind that you have also resolved this issue. Of course, we cannot go further because now we're moving away from our chapter uh, skill set. You're going to learn all of that stuff, access, domain access, all that stuff in later on chapters. Don't worry about it. But at this point, you know the basics. You need to turn on the RDP on that machine to be able to work. Later on, more things can happen, and you need to learn more from different chapters. Now, the third ticket is about IT Manager Monica. Please send me the report of all client OS. So basically, she's looking for the report for all client. What is client? Windows operating systems like 10, Windows 11. She's not talking about servers right here. So we're looking into upgrading some of our client to the latest versions. She's simply asking that if you have Windows 10 over here, Windows 11 here, and a virtual machine, tell me what version are we on. So simply you can first try to learn it the most manual way. This is something that people use a lot of different type of tools, which you're going to learn later on from our courses, the more advanced skills. But for now, if you type WinWer, just like that, WinWer in the computer, in that same computer, you can come back here and then you can copy paste or get that information to your manager. So you can tell your manager that the PLAB Win 10 machine is a Windows 10 professional operating system, and the version of that is 21H1. And if you want to add the build, that's up to you. And same way, if you go to the Windows 11, I'm just showing you the most manual way right now. Okay, there's nothing fancy about this. So just coming here when we're in Windows 11, and you can see now, sorry, by going to Windows 11, we have to come over here. We were in the virtual machine. So we're going to go to Windows 11. That's another confusion. Make sure you're not in the virtual machine. Know when to get out. So right click, were, just like that. And you see now it tells you that this machine is a Windows 11 operating system and it's 21H2 and the build number. Okay, so of course, you must be like, what if I have 300 computers? Do I need to go to each computer and try to do this? No, not at all. Later on, you're going to learn everything can be managed through different type of skill set, different type of technologies, different type of applications. That's something later on. You're in the first chapter. Remember that nothing can be learned from one or two chapters. You have to go in sequence. This is a reminder again to our members that if you don't know about Active Directory and you're thinking, where am I going to learn? Yes, you're going to learn it from different type of courses that are coming soon. Third course, projects, everything is covered right here. Access issues, you're going to learn it. But if you don't cover the theoretical chapter and you just straight go into some sort of technologies, it's not going to make any sense. You're just going to be very stressed, and this learning will become headache for you. So first, you went through the chapter, you cover the basics right now from these tickets, and if you have went through that Windows operating chapter and you have done this part now, you probably have very good confidence on top of what you have learned from that chapter. Easily, you can do some tickets on if you have covered this. Now, a lot of questions will be popping up, and that is what you're going to cover in chapter 3, 4, 5, module 1, 2, 3, all the way to 30 modules that we have. You need to cover.